What's up, guys? Today we're going to be discussing new ways to rig hooks for catfishing. If you're a veteran, you probably know or have used most of these. But if you're new to the catfishing world and you want to learn something new or a new way to tie stuff, stick around on this episode of Hack to Fish. First of all, I want to apologize to everybody. It's been a little hectic for me the past couple of weeks. Seems like that's all I've been posting this year on 2020 is hectic stuff. But I'm ordering stuff for my boat, and we're going to strip it down, redo it from start to finish. Got a 35 horse Johnson motor to go on a 16 by 48 aluminum boat. It's going to be my first boat. Hopefully we'll get some new video and stuff on trolling and stuff like that. But today I want to talk about different rigs on catfishing and how to use these and tie these rigs. And the first one we're going to start with is a simple Carolina rig. Now, on this simple Carolina rig, you want to take your main line and you want to either run a bait sinker first or a fish in the river, a no-roll sinker. But today we're going to use a bait sinker. I'm going to start with your bait sinker first, and then I always like to run a bead, even though that's a plastic guard that ain't supposed to hurt your knot. Sinker, bead, then swivel. At the end of this main line, you'll want to put a barrel swivel. I use screw clinch knot most of the time for a barrel swivel. Take your pair of scissors to trim the excess off. Now, your leader line should look like, your main line should look like this. Now, some people prefer to run smaller leader line. I prefer to run heavier leader line, just because I would rather lose equipment than big fish. So, I run 80-pound Eagle Claw leader line. I will also tie an improved clinch knot on the swivel with the leader line. And now, if you've got this far, your rig should look like this. Now, on this leader line, it's really a preference. You can use J hooks, you can use circle hooks. Depends on what you're using on the bank. If you're just running J hooks with a clicker, this is the kind of J hook I use. Big, got a big gap where it can go all the way through the fish and still come out the other side. Always check your tips to make sure there's no scales or anything on it. Now on the hook, that's kind of a preference of what you want to do. And that is a Carolina rig. Now, if you want this hook to stay above this sinker, you can just take a peg float, like so. Add it to your rig. And that will keep baits above the rocks and all the other stuff. If you want to add sound to this peg float, just get you some bass jig rattles and then take these pegs out, put them in each end to cause a little bit of movement in the water besides the live bait or the cut bait you're using. Now, I don't like the loose stuff, but this next rig is for an intentionally losing sinkers. And it kind of conflicts me, but I've used it before in heavy cover, and it's a 3-way swivel rig. Now, first you're going to need a heavy duty 3-way swivel, and we tie our main line to the top. On down through here, I use a heavy mono leader line for the middle. And the reason I use a heavier leader line is not because I don't trust my equipment, it's because it actually keeps it away from getting tangled up more because it's so stiff. Now, the other reason I like using it is just because of the catfish rubbing their mouths with that sandpaper mouth stuff. Now, the difference from this one and others is on the bottom where you tie your sinker on at, that's going to fall in the cover, there needs to be a lighter line, like 15-pound, any kind of mono that breaks away easy. And the reason this is this is going to fall in the cover and keep your bait above the cover, so you can actually get the fish better. If it was at the bottom, you would be more than likely just to get hooked as soon as you fell down through it. This simple rig has caught a lot of fish in cover. You might lose the sinker, but then again, you might have a fish of a lifetime. And if you want to make your cut bait flow better, again, add a peg float to the top part of it, and it will keep it from falling farther down in the cover. Good rig for heavy cover. Now, I know a lot of people are against using floats, but in the winter time, it can be very successful, which we got coming up. And I use more leader line per foot on this next rig than I do any of my other rigs. And I mostly use a spinning rod for it. And it's because of using floats for catfish. Now, I'm going to show you an easier way to check for depth, and it's free if your phone has internet service. At the end of this video, you will want to watch it if you like navionics. What you want to start out with is your main line. You'll want to tie a uni knot, double uni knot at the end of that. Now, the reason I use a spinning rod for this setup is because it's got bigger eyes. You can throw the live bait a lot better since you've tied this uni knot, because casting rod's eyes are so little this knot can get stuck in them eyes and you could lose your bait. Now the next part, I take in between 5 to 9 foot of a 80-pound mono eagle claw. And this is going to be your shark leader for your setup. Next you'll want a bead. There it is. To stop at that hook, at the knot up here that's tied on your leader line. And then a float, either a float you can buy at Bass Pro Shop, or look up some of my videos and make a cheap slip floats. Like this big slip float right here. Or just easier slip floats, like this. Next, you want to have a sinker. And all this sinker does is flip your float up to where it's easier to observe if you cast it a long distance. And then preferably, I like circle hooks in my bait. Now the reason I like circle hooks is because I like using big floats, big enough that when they pull that float down, the circle hook is already starting in their jaw. And then all you got to do is reel down and give a little tug, and then it go through the rest of the way. This rig is very effective in summer, in winter, in spring, even during spawn. If you can find out where they're spawning at and you can get a live bait around their nest, they'll hammer it. Again, very effective rig. Now guys, I was talking about an easy way to find the depths and everything. If you have the navionics app, you pay $9.99 for a year subscription. You know what I'm talking about. But if you just want to check it out, you don't want to spend the money on it, check out on the web for free. Alright, now all of this on the web, you have to have an internet signal. And it will, you have to look a little bit on where you're fishing at. It'll show you depths, wood jams, undercover bridges, anything that's been in that water. This is going to be effective around fall because all the water temperatures and depths are going to be different for the dropping lake. If you have a floater rig and you don't get the right depth for your floater, that fish could be sitting there with that bluegill in his mouth or whatever you're using for live bait, and you won't even know it's hitting because it's too deep, and he'll be able to run around a foot, 2 foot around without even you know it. But check out this free app and I'll post some pictures. Alright guys, that was 3 new rigs. If you're starting out catfishing, you really need to know. They cover most of your bases on short, shallow, deep, on how to rig most of your hooks and stuff, how to set it up. You can use to catch numerous fish, whether it be on the float, Carolina rig going deep, or in cover. Now, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're interested in other videos that I've done, just hit subscribe and the bell at the bottom. It will let you know anytime that I have a video telling you how to do something, hack, or product review. Well, at the end of this video, like always, I hope this helps you in your fishing adventures. Until again, this is Hack the Fish, and I'm out.